In this video, we'll talk about the main skill Metronome in Pokémon Sleep, and there are two Pokémon with this main skill as of the recording of this video, and that is Togekiss and Clefable. These two Pokemon are quite interesting in their own ways. Overall, I would say Metronome is not the most useful of main skill. It is a little bit interesting in the sense that you can stack the Metronome main skill level and this skill rate, which is pretty high, and then have some funny things happen every now and then. But for the most part, you probably won't be running a Togekiss. I have a little bit of a problem placing Togekiss because it is my favorite Pokemon, just bar none. And because it has this just troll main skill, possibly B tier, more likely a C tier Pokemon, but it is a funny Pokemon. And if you do have the main skill level 7 or 6 on this, then if you have a couple skill triggers as well and maybe the Berry Finding, then yeah, the Togekiss can do some work. The other Pokemon with the main skill is Clefable, which is a berry specialist. So for the most part, 3.5% here on the skill rate is pretty high. So overall, possibly the better Metronome Pokemon is going to be the Clefable, just because it is a decent skill rate, and it does have two evolutions as well if you go all the way from Cleffa. So in that regard, they're quite similar. But the Berry Finding Clefable with some helping speed is just going to be very powerful as a berry specialist. So for Cyan Beach, possibly a good Pokemon to consider. It doesn't hold a candle though to the Feraligatr, just so that we are clear on that. Feraligatr has the same speed. It does have a slightly worse ingredient rate here, as you can see. So obviously the Clefable here is way in the lead, but the Feraligatr just has a lot stronger of a berry. So if we look at the Pecha Berry, at level 30, it's going to be 55, and then we have the Oran Berry, which is 63. And overall, that 10% difference here, I think for the most part, is gonna put the favor in the Feraligatr. However, this is a strong Pokemon and one to consider for sure, and typically is more easily found during the Good Sleep Day event because of the moon and all that stuff, so that is interesting. But this video is not about the berry finders, it is about the main skill, Metronome. If you're unfamiliar, then yeah, the Metronome is just using one randomly chosen main skill, and this is not among the main skills that you have like acquired in your bag. It just draws from the list. So it's not like ingredient finder or ingredient magnet in that regard. It's just of all the possible main skills, it's going to trigger one of them. One funny implication of this is the Helper Boost, which is a main skill that draws on the type of the Pokemon. So the Raikou ability, if triggered by the Togekiss, will be Fairy typing, and that is super funny. So I haven't been able to do that with my Togekiss yet, but someday it is going to happen, possibly at Cyan Beach, where I'll be running Wigglytuff, Sylveon, Togekiss, Feraligatr, you know? And that's going to be a lot of fun. So the Metronome, for the most part, is a funny main skill. The thing to consider then would be if we switch spots of these, maybe we can talk a little about Togekiss. I can put it in the thumbnail and be real happy about myself. So the rash nature is not going to be good for you. Maybe the careful. Let's see, particularly on the Togekiss, I think that could be strong just because it has a low ingredient drop rate to begin with. Don't worry about the eggs or the roots here or the cacao. Like, the ingredient list on Togekiss matters zero. It is so infrequent on the ingredient rate to where the main thing that you will be looking for on the Togekiss, in my opinion, is the berry finding. If you can then somehow find the skill trigger M, you're going to be pretty set. And if you by chance also find the skill level up M, that's going to be pretty good. And then some helping speed and possibly the skill trigger S as well. So this is the hopes and dreams scenario. If I was to piece together a Togekiss right here, this would be what I would look for personally. The reason is you don't want to waste your main skill seeds on the Togekiss. If you do have the berry finding and the skill trigger, because it is decently fast, at least you are going to get quite a lot of berry value for this. So at Cyan Beach in particular, it is going to be useful. And with the skill level up M, then yeah, maybe you can set aside one skill seed on it so that you get to level 6. But for the most part, you are looking for that berry finding skill trigger combo, which is generally quite strong on the skill specialists. But for the most part, the Togekiss is just such a random, funny Pokemon that these later sub-skills also do play a role when you decide on going for that Togekiss. You might have seen that I have been on the hunt for a Togekiss for a long time. That was mostly before I started making these videos. And so I have like 40 befriended Togepi, like I'm way in. And I have found a really good Togepi, and I will be evolving it, and I will also use the main seeds on it just because I love Togekiss. It's one of my favorite Pokemon, and it's the one situation where I will just not optimize for gameplay, but I want the favorite Pokemon of mine in the game. So I also sacrificed quite a lot in the early game. My one Togekiss is level 40. I have another Togekiss at level 25, and I have a third Togekiss now on the way, which I'm gonna run into like 100. So that is gonna be funny going into the late game, especially as we see more Pokemon and abilities and just combo potential. It would be interesting to give Togekiss its spot at some point. For now, it's just going to be a random Pokemon, and sometimes you get some Dream Shards, sometimes you get some Tasty Chance, and to an extent, what the Togekiss does is once you have main skill level 6 on the Togekiss, you get the average of these skills. And if on net, the skills are really strong, then Togekiss is going to be really strong, particularly with this skill rate. This skill rate is absolutely perfect for the Togekiss. If you top it with a skill trigger M, the speed here is just going to be a really strong combo. And with the extra berries, and with the main skill up here so you don't have to waste the seeds, maybe 1 or 2 seeds depending on how much you like Togekiss, then it's not going to be a bad Pokemon. So it's just not the best, not the worst possible Pokemon. I would put it in a solid B tier, but that could greatly differ from your evaluation. It is my favorite Pokemon, so in this case I am a little bit biased, but I really want this Pokemon to work, so we'll just have to see over time what happens to it. So in my daily research videos, in the time coming, I will be pouring some sleep time into the Togepi so that I can evolve it and start using it at some point. So there isn't really that much more to talk about. You can leave a like in this video if you found it helpful. Hey, I started learning how to do this now. And yeah, subscribe for more Pokemon Sleep content. Thank you for watching.